Bad dreams, huh?
Why are you bothering me? I'm fine.
It's just that you were shouting in your sleep, loud, and not in a good, this is private way either. You see, part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the darkspawn. That's what your dream was, hearing them. The archdemon, it talks to the Horde, and we feel it just as they do. That's why we know this is really a blight.
Why didn't Duncan just tell everyone that?
He did. He said he felt the archdemon's presence. Everyone just assumed he was guessing. It takes a bit, but eventually you can block the dreams out. Some of the older Grey Wardens say they can understand the archdemon a bit, but I sure can't. Anyhow, when I heard you thrashing around, I thought I should tell you. It was scary at first for me too.
Well, I'm not frightened.
I screamed like a little girl. Duncan said he thought I had someone in my room. Not embarrassing at all. Anyhow, you're up now, right? Let's pull up camp and get a move on.
Okay. He disapproves. Of course.
Yes? Well, here I am.
So what would someone like you be doing in the chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
They don't teach you how to fight in the cloister, right?
Did you think I was always a cloistered sister? The chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Firm.
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
And what'd you do before that?
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
Okay.
Ah, it's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Feddick, at your service, once again. I saw your camp and thought to myself, what safer place to rest for the evening than in the camp of a Grey Warden? I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
Yeah, you're free to stay, just mind yourselves.
Wonderful. Thank the gentleman, won't you, boy?
Thank you, sir.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me.
Cool.
Hello.
The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
Okay.
Enchantment!
Enchantment. Okay, no, we're not going to do that one, actually. Can we go back? Yes. So we have to... let's see. Yeah, at least in the meantime, until I get a better weapon, we could do that.
Enchantment?
Why can't I do it for my gun, for my fucking one? Doesn't make any sense. Really? Okay. Apparently my sword's not good enough for an fucking enchantment, for whatever reason.
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road.
So what's your story?
I suppose since you told me about you being a Grey Warden, it's only fitting for me to be as open. I'm originally from Orzammar, just as you are, I suspect. You don't have the look of a surface dwarf about you. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved them. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose.
Our glory isn't lost.
Well, you can think that if you wish, if that gives you comfort, but some of us prefer to look at things as they are and see the truth. But we were talking about how I ended up here, weren't we? One day, a noble woman came to my stall. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of course. Nobles, they're touchy like that.
Well, I used to be a noble.
And now you're up here, on the surface.
My brother betrayed me and had me exiled.
Then you know whereof I speak, don't you? Well, I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for me. The lost tides, they're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure, something worth a little gold.
So why does this dwarf have a British accent, the rest of them don't? You stole from the tigers of the noble houses? How dare you?
You know, she said that exact same thing in that exact same tone. The noblewoman, she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me, and I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got. Never looked back.
Huh. Now here you are.
Yes, here I am. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you?
Well, where these goods come from, not the deep roads.
Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the lost tides, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the darkspawn coming.
What do you mean?
People flee from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the darkspawn don't get them. Is that so bad? They destroy everything they touch.
I guess. It's better than having them take it all.
That's what I tell myself, too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend.
You didn't mention your son in your tale.
Ah, yes. I'm married to a fine woman back in Denerim, it's true. She'd give me a son if she could, but that's not likely to ever be. Sandal here, I found him in the deep roads years ago. Abandoned, I think, and he was never quite right in the head. I took him in, and I brought him with me when I came here to the surface. He may not be my blood, true, but I think of him as one.
We left Orzammar.
That's right, boy. Maybe one day we'll see it again.
So you got a free helper.
Better than him living in mud and hiding from darkspawn and deepstalkers, isn't it? I was glad to take him in. It's not as if I don't benefit, mind you. Turns out the boy's a natural working with enchantments. He might have even been lyrium-addled. I never thought of that before, to be honest. Happens sometimes. He can work an enchantment into just about anything, however, given some time. Could probably open his own shop, if he knew how.
Enchantment.
Well, he does seem to enjoy it, at least.
Alright, let me see your wares.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected.
Yes. See what we're gonna do here. We'll sell the Warden Recruit Shield. We'll sell this one too. And it doesn't really look like there's much, Oh, well, Leliana can use those, I think. And then, yeah, other than that, not much.
You'll have to forgive me if I seem a bit nervous. Not many people travelling in this part of Ferelden. Of course, that's part of my problem, isn't it? Mule got spooked by a wisp and ran off into the woods. Now what do I do?
What are you doing out here?
Oh, waiting for my helper to find the damn mule, of course. It's freezing. Oh, I suppose you meant, why am I out here? As in this part of the country. Allow me to introduce myself. Felix de Grosbois, merchant and entrepreneur at your service.
Merchant.
I
out
don't
here?
normally take this route, but with the war, I was hoping for a bit of luck and good weather in the mountains. Sadly, I've had neither. Ugh, this trip has been one miserable disaster after another. I don't suppose you consider helping a fellow out?
You look like I'm here to help.
No, but maybe you could make an exception. This once? Of all the other things that went wrong, the worst is this artifact I brought in Jada. It's a control rod, I'm told, for a golem. No point in me keeping it, however, as I'll never get to use it. But, maybe you could?
And how much do you want for it?
Nothing. I just don't want to have to lug around something that might be taken for a gemstone by some bandit. To be honest, I don't even know if it'll be useful to you. I paid too much to simply throw it away.
Okay. What's the catch?
The catch? Yeah, I suppose it is a catch, isn't it? The catch is that the golem didn't come with the rod. It's supposed to be down in a village down south, waiting to be activated. Even if I could get down there, which I can't, I understand the place has been overrun by darkspawn. That's not such an issue for adventurous types like yourself, surely? Or I'm hoping that's so, at least.
Yeah, I could definitely use it.
Just as well. As I mentioned before, you'll find the golem down south, in a town called Honleith. I'll mark it here on your map. Just hold up the rod and say Dulaf Gar. That will wake the golem up, so I'm told. I hope it works.
Well, if not, I'll be back.
Alright, well, then I really hope it works. Best of luck to you then. Now, I guess it's up to me to find that mule myself.
Cool. See if, you have anything to say?
What do you wish of me?
Uh,
If you must.
did you grow up in the wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
I mean, you could probe me anytime.
Beg pardon then, while I jump for joy. What is it you asked? If I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
And you remained unnoticed?
For the most part. Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
You must have looked quite the fool.
I think not. I am no frail flower wilting at the first heat. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
You have no idea. I'm not human.
Do not speak to me of trivialities. Your culture is not so entirely different. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Oh. I guess the joke's on you then.
You were a fine one to be pointing out the humor of fate. Shall we examine your predicament on the whole? Let's not. Me? I prefer the jest on me to the jest on you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Okay. Good talk. How about you, Alistair?
What do you need? Ask away.
Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
We need to start rebuilding.
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be 2 of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
Where's the nearest Grey Wardens?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
Is there a headquarters?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfells, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
And what would happen if we, okay, what happens now there's 2 of us?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us.
That's funny, because they say the game story takes place over an entire year's time. So they didn't think through the timeline that well. Because if that's true, then he said it's only a few weeks to get to the nearest city in Orlais. That would just be a lot easier, right? You know? What happened when we left?
You mean just left Ferelden? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the Blight would grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. What do you need?
And how about you?
Yes?
Do you know of this place?
Next to nothing, I'm afraid. Perhaps there is little to know about this place, or I simply have not discovered its secrets yet.
Okay.
Yes? Well, here I am.
Vision.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. and there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in.
So it's just a dream. Why do you say it's a vision?
I have had dreams. This was different somehow. When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
Yeah, I don't need your Maker interfering in my life.
It's not your life, but mine that he guides. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything?
Well, the Blight's the Maker's punishment. Will you defy him?
I don't know. He made this world. He could destroy it. But there is so much worth saving. You're such a pessimist.
Yeah, fuck you. Okay. Yeah, she's not going to be useful. We're going to go back to Sten. And swap him out. But we're going to talk to him and see what he's about.
Yes.
So what were you doing in the cage?
Sitting, as you observed.
That's not what I meant.
It's what you asked.
You're impossible.
I know. Parshera. Was there anything else? I am hardly surprised.
Why'd you come to Ferelden?
To answer a question.
He came all the way for that?
For someone so dismissive of questions, you ask a great many.
Okay. What was the question?
The Arishok asked, "What is the Blight?" By his curiosity, I am now here.
What's an Arishok?
The one who commands the Antam, the body of the Kunari.
So he's your king?
Kunari have no kings.
Okay, so why does he care about the Blight?
Why do you?
It's a threat to Orzammar.
Is it? If the darkspawn are attacking Ferelden, doesn't that mean there are fewer preying on your own people? Don't strain yourself pondering that. I do not know why the Arishok sent us. He commands and I go.
Did you find the answer?
A portion of it.
What's the answer?
Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed? That is your answer.
Why would they Kunari care?
Why do you?
Oh wait, we're going in
Is it?
circles.
Don't strain yourself pondering that.
Okay.
Parshera, was there anything else?
Of course he disapproves, but we do have armor for him. Alright, well, that'll have to do for now. So now we're going to go into the village and get the golem.
Yes. Yes.
Indeed.
Fuck. What the hell is that?
How did a child survive that? The crater is still smoking. It's a boy. 5 fingers, 5 toes. That's all that matters to me. The Maker has answered our prayers. Let's go home, Marta, and raise the tyke as our own.
What? I'm so confused. Very confused. Alright.